Hi, Vanessa Webb, Stampin'Up Demonstrator Australia here. I have a really fun little project to share with you today. I will let you know though that I got this idea from a UK demonstrator called, her name is Karen Howell, and she's got some great instructions on her blog as well. My project is slightly different to hers, and let me show you what it does first before I show you how to make it. So it's actually a pop-up box in a sleeve, and what happens when you pull it out is it pops up like that, so it becomes a cube. And you can decorate your cube with whatever stamps, ink and paper you have lying about. This one is decorated with some of the celebration papers, which I'm really going to miss. You can't actually get these anymore, but I'm sure that you will find lots and lots of different ways to decorate your pop-up cube. Now the best thing about it is that it folds flat like that and slides straight back into the sleeve again, which is really cool. So the sleeve, my sleeve is actually made from the fancy foil designer acetate, so that you can see a little bit of what's inside, and I really liked that effect. I've also changed the mechanism slightly, so let me show you how I make my pop-up cube box. I've got a Stampin'Up trimmer here, and I'm going to use some rich raspberry cardstock. I've actually got these these instructions from Karen's website as well. The great thing about these is that they're actually to scale, so they're really easy to follow, and you'll need to make 2 of these to create your cube, because the cube actually consists of 4 sides. This makes 2 sides, one of these. So you'll need to do this, what I'm about to show you, you'll need to do this to 2 sheets of the rich raspberry or whatever colour you've chosen. And the measurements are 6 inches by 8 and a quarter, sorry, so 6 inches across the top, the short edge, and 8 and a quarter is the long. The first thing I'm going to do is use my scoring tool, and this is going to help me measure a couple of things as well as score some fold lines. The first score line we're going to do along the 6-inch side, and that is going to be at 2 3/4. And then the next one is actually 2 3/4 along from that. So you're going to bring this score line, if you can't see it, just make it a little bit more distinct. 2 3/4 again, taking it up to there. And so you should have about half an inch left over. So that's a smaller piece on the end there. Then you're going to turn your cardstock so that the 8 1/4 side is along the top, and you're going to score again at 2 3/4. So bringing it back to there, and just take it all the way down. Even though on the diagram it says to stop at that score line, you actually won't see that because these bits are being cut off anyway. So go all the way up, that's fine, and then flip it and do the same from the other side, so 2 3/4. These instructions will all be on my blog, so with reference and credit to Karen, so you can see those if you visit my blog. Make sure you do that if you would like the instructions, and you can print them out there too. All right, so following on, we've actually got a couple of lines that we need to score. Now these will become cut lines, but I find it easier to cut these with my scissors, so I've used the score line as a reference point of where I need to cut. So coming in from here, you're going to take this score line here to the 1/2 inch mark, sliding it up. Actually, sorry, no, this side. The little edge, the smaller 1/2 inch edge needs to be on your right hand side. So we're going to slide it in this way at the 1/2 inch mark, and then we're going to just put a 1/2 inch score line down from each of these points, so you can probably see it there. So we're actually going to be cutting these rectangles out eventually. Now the other score lines I'm going to be doing are, actually no, these ones are cut lines. So if you have a look at the diagram, you've got a cut line that goes all the way through and it finishes just there. So the easiest way I find to do that is to use your track, and you do it by sight. You don't need pencil marks or anything like that. So you want to put that T intersection between that's the dead center of those two score lines in the track there, and you need to swivel this one so that the top line is just in the track too, and then when you close it you'll be able to see both those points of reference, and bring your blade this time and just cut it off so you'll get a perfect cut. Same with this side, you'll want this crosshair in the track there, and you want to swivel that so that that score line intersects with the track in your trimmer, and then you're going to bring it down like that. So that's how you get those diagonal cuts. Now these are really easy too, even though they're perpendicular to the cuts. They're actually quite easy to do. So after you've done those triangle cuts, what you're going to do is position this point here in your track again, and just use the grid on your Stampin' Up trimmer. A lot of trimmers don't have this, and it's actually really helpful for lining things up and getting things straight. Pop that point into the track and make sure that this edge of the cardstock is actually parallel to the lines. Doesn't matter which lines they run parallel to, but you'll be able to see that. And we're scoring, not cutting, so bring your scoring tool down and stop it just at that point. You want to do the same on the other side. And that is the easiest way, I find, rather than trying to measure and use pencils and get out other tools. That's the easiest way to make diagonal lines. Alrighty, so once you've done two of those, you're actually going to be cutting with scissors just this little rectangle. So that takes it up to only that point. Okay, so you've still got this bit here and on the other side as well. So you'll end up with something that looks a little bit like a mushroom. And then in order to be able to close your box, you'll need to just cut up there and cut these little triangular pieces out. And that enables you to form some tabs which will close the sides of the cube when we put it together. That's what it looks like. It's really helpful to have your Stampin' Up bone folder handy too, so that you can smooth down all of these creases, and you'll find that your project goes together a lot more easily. Okay, so we've got two of these ready to go together. The first step in sticking everything together is, first of all, you need to make sure that you've got your Tombow multi-purpose glue handy. I find that this is great to use when you're putting boxes and 3D items together. It's really strong when it's dry, but before it dries, you've actually got a little bit of wriggle room. And Karen mentions this on her video too. You will need to use the glue because when you're putting this together, it doesn't always go exactly in the right spot, so you might just need to maneuver it into position. So this one is the first, point at which you're going to adhere the two pieces, and the rest of it all comes together once that's dry. So I'm going to set that aside once that's dry, and I'll show you how to put the two sides together as well. Now on the pattern, it actually tells you that you need two of these, and these are what are called the elastic holders, and they, if you have a look inside the box, they are what keep the box in shape once it's out of the sleeve. So you'll see the elastic band in there, and the elastic band's actually attached to two elastic holders. How you make those? Very easy. You just cut 2.5 by 1 inch, two of these, 2.5 by 1 inch size, and you fold it in half, and then fold back the two flaps half again. So you're actually doing a 3/4 inch fold from the very ends. So they'll end up looking like these. So if you're holding it like that, you've got two T's, and you're going to stick them inside your box before you put it together. So let's bring in the one I've prepared earlier. These two, you'll need to put a hole in them. So grab your hole punch. This is the 1/16 circle hole punch, and just a little bit further than halfway, so about there in the middle, you're going to punch a hole, and do the same on the other side. So slide it in a little bit further than halfway, punch a hole, and then from an angle, so not directly from the point, the corner there, but just a little bit further in, about 1/2 centimetre, you're going to put a slit down to where you punch the hole. Do the same on the other elastic holder, and that is what you're going to hook the elastic band into once it's inside. Okay, and you're going to put these inside the box before you close it. Oops. Little trick here, make sure that the points are facing the same way. So you'll actually want them to be facing the same way, so don't have one going that way. You want them both facing that way or that way, as long as they're the same. And the first one you're going to put along this strip here. So I've got a little bit of glue there. Just going to put, whoops, a tiny bit more. You want these to be really secure, but you don't want to put too much glue on them so they take too long to dry. So see where I've positioned that? It's right in the middle, and it's directly, the gap is directly over the top of that fold line there. So when the box is together, yeah, it will bend over nicely. So here's the other one. Put it in the same way. There we go. So you're going to set those aside to dry. The other things that you can do while you're waiting for those to dry are put the sides together. So if you bring the box together like that, you will see that the sides go on quite easily, and you've actually got these tabs here to put your glue. So let me just show you one or two. About that much glue is fine, and you're just going to bring that together like that. You'll need to hold it for a couple of seconds, and then you do the same with that side, and then the other two sides. So what you will end up with, once it's dry, is something that looks like this. So you can see the elastic holders. I've stuck those in. All four sides are stuck down, but we've actually got the box still open, and that's going to allow us to put in the elastic band before we finally close it by adhering that just inside there. Okay, let me grab the elastic band and I'll show you how to insert it. I worked out, because our cardstock is a little bit soggy in Australia, especially at the moment, it doesn't hold the elastic band as well. So possibly, I'm thinking in Utah, where this cardstock is made, they wouldn't have this problem. Perhaps not in the UK either, I'm not sure. But we certainly have a lot of humidity here, so I find that cardstock is quite soggy and it's not as stiff as you would like it sometimes. So what I'm going to do is use staples as well as these little elastic band holders. And I'm going to just pop my elastic band in there. I don't know if you can see that. I'm just popping it between the two pieces, just inside the gap there, all the way down to where I punched the hole. And then I'm going to bring it up so you can see the elastic band there, and there's the keeper. And I'm going to get my handheld stapler. Any stapler will do. Stampin' Up! Don't offer these at the moment, but I still love my handheld stapler because it's really, really great for getting into tight spots, and it's easy to maneuver. So I don't know if you can see that there, but I've actually popped the staple over the top of the elastic band. Now if it hasn't grabbed the other side, don't worry too much. You can put another one if you need to, and that will actually probably hold it even better. So that's not coming out ever. And it just adds a little bit of extra security to your elastic band. All right, so what you're going to do now is twist the band a little bit and then bring it over, so about 4 or 5 times. Bring it over to the other side and hook it through. This is the tricky one because it's actually on the other side. I'm just going to push it through there and all the way down to the hole where I've punched that. And then I'm going to get my my stapler again. You'll notice that the box can still bend backwards, so don't be afraid of doing that with it because it will give you a little bit more room to work with. So you can bend it back, so you're stretching the elastic band as you go. Just be careful it doesn't snap shut. And you're going to staple that again, and the second time if you need to. All right, so watch what happens when I let go. All right, so it should snap shut. If the elastic band is not tight enough or small enough or the right size, it won't snap shut. The size that I've used, just for reference, I got these at the local supermarket, Woolies supermarket. They're size number 16. So they're perfect for this project. Not too thick either. Yeah, you don't want it to cut someone's finger off when it snaps shut. So Karen had a great idea when securing this part, and I just wanted to show you quickly what she suggested, because I think it's a great idea. She suggested to use some double-sided tape. So let me just grab my double-sided tape. This is the tear and tape, and Karen suggested that you use both tear and tape as well as the Tombow for an extra strength to hold the box together. So there's my tear and tape. Okay, and obviously there's no drying time required for that, but there will be for this. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of that on there and pop that inside. You want that to be very secure, so you can actually slide your fingers in there and press it down if that's easier. Now what's going to happen is the glue will dry, and it will dry on top of the tear and tape, so it's just extra bit of strength when you're opening and closing the box. So if you squish it down like that, you should also be able to make those folds nice and pronounced and go over that final join as well. There we go. So that's it. That's how you make a pop-up cube. Let me show you the original one again. And I will show you another one that I made using vellum. Because you can put anything around the outside. You can put cardstock, obviously. This one, as I said, has the designer foil, fancy foil window sheet. And you pop it up. And then you can fold it flat and slide it back in. And the other one that I did with one of my classes just recently was this one. Let me show you. Again, you've got the vellum instead of the foil or cardstock. So the vellum cardstock, and you can see the card inside. So that forms the sleeve. I'll have the pattern for the sleeve on my blog too. But when you pull it out, it pops up like that. So you've got a cube, inside there. I hope you have fun making these. I'm a bit addicted, and I'm thinking I'd like to make lots more and try out some different stamp sets and different ways of decorating them too. You can find all of these ingredients on my website, www.vanessawebb.stampinup.net, or you can visit my blog, which is without the Stampin' Up, so www.vanessawebb.net, and I'll have those instructions on there for you, as well as